Hello and welcome to a Smurpy video, and today we are looking at X-Men issue 24 by Gerry Duggan, and we have the trading card variants by Dauterman, and this is Talon on the front, and then we have some beautiful trading card facts on the back. There we go. So let's open this up. Cable is a virus. They are of Essex, and I trust them not. Remember, Essex assisted with the clone of Madeline Pryor, which can mutually create a baby with Scott Summers, and therefore perhaps Moira's views are correct. Just take that in a little bit. Okay, so Cable. Young Cable. I looked at this, I went, wait a minute, Cable's young Cable? What have I missed? Because I'm not actively reading every new issue that's coming out in the X universe. In fact, it's Cable from the future. He's come back to prevent the third Hellfire Gala because it goes terribly wrong, which we know it goes terribly wrong, and Orchis are up to no good. However, Orchis are also expecting this attack from Cable, etc. And even though Cable could perhaps be quite adept to take out Moira, perhaps Omega Sentinel, Nibrod is a different kettle of fish. And he is learning little fighting quotes like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, which I thought was quite interesting. And as you can see, he rips Cable's arms. Status ends up putting him on ice, but there is going to be no killing of him. But there is also another problem. She says, humanity loses if Manifold lives. There's also something from the variant's authority about Cable, and lots of time-popping things happening. So if you see a Cable, report it in. There we go. Our next clue to the upcoming Hellfire Gala is Blindfold says, sorry, wait a minute, let me go back. If Moira says if Manifold is with the mutants, they lose. Destiny says if Manifold's with us, wait a minute. Mutantkind dies with Manifold. Whereas Moira Mataget thinks they win if he's on their team. So complete opposites, bonkers, and very interesting. I'm sure that will come to light as well. So Destiny is discussing with Rogue. Rogue wants to bring it to the X-Men. She's saying we can't. And then she gives this riddle of lots of little things, etc., that can happen in the future, which we will start seeing appearing, etc. But one thing is clear, there is a turncoat in the X-Men. Dun, dun, dun. I wonder who that is. That would be interesting. That will be interesting. So Gerry Duggan is writing it. Joshua Cassara is on the art. Frank Martin is on the colors. VC's Clay and Chaos is on the letters. Tom Miller and Jay Bowen are on the design as always. So we have gone to, I'm trying to remember what it's called, Games World. And Pogg Ur-Pogg is causing absolute havoc. So they go get stuck in. We get a fastball special. And Cyclops wants to hang back and thinks it's an opportunity for him and Jean to perhaps talk. Because the rest of the team have it handled well. They did have it handled. Also, Pogg Ur-Pogg has these little minions running around stealing stuff. Forge asks about some voltage, I guess, to make something, but he doesn't go rushing into this. He says rushing into things sometimes doesn't lead to the right results. He also goes back to a recent failure or something that went wrong, where he always was humbled by machines, thought he could talk to them and make them do whatever he wanted. However, recently that almost cost him his life. So he's really thinking his approach, etc., giving it some real thought when he goes out into the field. You also get Magic and Pogg Ur-Pogg reunited and having some little chats, etc. He says that there's a spell going on. I'm not sure who's casting the spell. It's not clear. And I'm not sure if we actually find that out by the end of the issue. I don't think we do. But there is some rhyming and some griming and some weird stuff. Meanwhile, Cinch is thrown into space and Jean Grey goes to the rescue. So, Talon gets Pogg to sort of stop, and Illyana sort of talks to him and gets him to come out and have a conversation. Albeit up inside, he's taken some brunt perhaps off these attacks. And well, they close the deal by Forge agreeing to make him some Mysterium jewelry, etc. However, he says someday he'll ask a request of him. Now, is that a hint to perhaps Forge being a turncoat on this team? He's probably the most obvious one, but I suspect it's not, because that would be too easy, right? Very too easy. So Iceman says, wait a minute, did we win by getting robbed ourselves? Which is pretty much what happened. So, Illyana is going to take Pogg Ur-Pogg back to Araku, and she's going to catch up with Sunfire. And meanwhile, Scott and Jean are going to talk, but they're going to talk somewhere private, which tells Cyclops that he is in trouble. And she asks him why he's, and this is getting into the nitty-gritty of the issue. She asks him why he's not been on the planet that he helped. You're so proud of your world, and I've come into your world. Why aren't you proud of mine? I think they did it together as far as I'm concerned in terms of the treehouse. And, yeah, he thought, well, actually, you know what? I don't think I have been there. And he says the only reason he hasn't, because in his mind, if he goes to Araku, we are giving them the reason to exile us. And he doesn't want to be exiled from the earth. He wants to be part of it. He wants humans. He wants this peaceful coexistence. That's what he believes in. That's what he's always believed in. I think the only time that he sort of stepped away from that was after the whole being on the brink of extinction. He sort of ended up breaking, and the Phoenix took him. He killed Xavier. That's the only time that he sort of stepped away and tried something a bit more radical, should we say, rightly or wrongly. And he tells her, we're already at war with the humans. The Sentinels are up to us. Orchard's propaganda is giving misinformation. We know that's happening, or that's going to happen. And it feels like there's a noose around his neck. And then he goes into what actually happens in the real world now. He says, look how they treat each other. So he, in his mind, he has actually separated mutant kind from humankind, but he goes into all the things that people do now when, people they don't agree with same-sex relationships, those sort of things. And people in this world, they are oppressed for that by certain people, and it's unfair. People should be able to live their lives how they want it, however they want to do what, etc., and be free. And so she says, love is enough to win those hearts. Love is enough. Now, she says you're a great captain of Krakoa. It suits you. You're good at it because you think like them. It's not a compliment that he thinks like a human being, I think. I didn't think that he was captain anymore. I can't remember that bit, but it's a while ago. But I felt like he gave that, or maybe it was captain and Bishop's the overall captain, so he comes in when he's needed, etc. Maybe that's it. And then out of blue, I don't know, this has been announcing at one of the other issues, but Jean Grey is leaving the X-Men, and this is, I find, quite bizarre. She says, if you're not on the team after the gala and you want to, then come find me. I find that a bit bizarre, because even if they're not on the same team and they're in a relationship, well, I hope they're still in a relationship, they're kissing there, and married, etc., why wouldn't he come find her? I just don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Cyclops, whether he'll still be in the team afterwards. I do feel like him not being in this team would be a bit bizarre, because he's been leading this team for, what, 24 issues, and it's quite a good team. I really do enjoy this team. But I enjoy the add-ons and the departures, etc. We also get Polaris, and there's something going on here that I don't know what's going on there. And it's hard to tell what that means. But she is grieving Magneto, so for those who don't know, and I only actually found this recently, and I didn't understand it when I read the Externals versus X-Men versus Avengers, is Magneto wanted to be part of the Arico life, and to do that he had to give up his resurrection status to be truly one of them, and he did. And then a couple of issues he sacrificed himself, you know. And Lorna is grieving that, and she says she knows she shouldn't be here, but she says, but Jean says, put that far away. Once you're an X-Man, you're always an X-Man. And then the issue, this has been sort of bubbling, sort of very quietly in the background, Red Root and getting him back from Jim Jaspers, but there's no telling what that price will be. Sunfire is the one going in there. The place is dangerous. The magic is dangerous. And he says, I'll see you in a week either way. He doesn't see anything bad happen. So we don't know what happens to Sunfire, but we do get this end thing. Sunfire is on his way out. He's almost done. He's got Red Root, but he's completely failed. And this is X months later. So, that journey is in... Sunfire versus Otherworld in X-Men Unlimited. I'm not sure if that's an issue. I know we get special things on Marvel Unlimited, which I pay for annually. So I need to go track that one down. I probably won't track it down and review it, but it's been dropped in here, so I may end up getting it in there just to complete the sort of journey, so to speak. I'm like that, and I'm not sure who's writing that issue, and whether it's a one-shot or whether it's a mini-series. Then we got Hellfire Gala coming up very, very quickly, just around the corner. Literally, I feel like it's next week. And then we got X-Men 25. The Red Queen is dead, long live the Queen, and that was a quote from Destiny earlier in the issue. So that will be very interesting to see. Deadpool's also been thrown in here as an X-related title. So never thought of that, so that's quite interesting as well. Ooh. And you got some Star Wars stuff. So anyway, really cool issue. I really liked it. Lots of little hints and feeds into to keep you going, etc. And great lead up to the Hellfire Gala Volume 3. Let's go read that in a couple weeks, or whenever I get it. So anyway, hope you like my video. If you do, please support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody that's already subscribed. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.